Do Fire in the Night. The unsolved mystery of South African Airways flight. The Indian Ocean stretched endlessly beneath South African Airways Flight 295 as the Boeing 747-200 Combi cruised through the moonless night of November 28, 1987. In the cockpit, Captain Dawie Uys and his crew monitored their instruments during what should have been a routine segment of their long haul from Taipei to Johannesburg. Below decks, in the specially configured cargo area that gave the Combi aircraft its name, an invisible catastrophe was unfolding. The first hint of trouble came as a faint wisp of smoke curling into the cabin, so slight that flight attendants initially dismissed it as condensation from the air conditioning system. Within minutes, the situation deteriorated with terrifying speed, as thick, choking smoke filled the aft galley and began seeping forward through the passenger cabin. Captain Uys declared an emergency at 0009 UTC. His voice calm but urgent as he reported smoke in the cockpit and requested an immediate diversion to Mauritius. Air traffic controllers watched in horror as the massive aircraft's transponder signal began descending erratically from its cruising altitude of 35,000 feet. The final radio transmission captured the sound of coughing and shouted commands before ending abruptly. Search and rescue vessels arriving at the crash site 2 days later found a debris field scattered across 50 square miles of open ocean, with the main wreckage eventually located at a depth of 15,000 feet, making it the deepest underwater aircraft recovery ever attempted. The subsequent investigation uncovered disturbing evidence that pointed to an intense fire originating in the forward cargo hold. Burn patterns on recovered wreckage suggested temperatures had exceeded 1,000 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt aluminum aircraft components. Most troubling was the condition of the flight recorders. While the cockpit voice recorder tape had partially melted, technicians managed to recover haunting audio of the crew's desperate attempts to combat the spreading inferno. The flight data recorder showed the aircraft had experienced multiple system failures in its final minutes as flames consumed critical control cables and electrical systems. Political tensions surrounding apartheid-era South Africa complicated the investigation from the outset. The aircraft's cargo manifest listed routine commercial goods, but persistent rumors suggested undeclared military equipment may have been aboard. Several witnesses reported seeing unusual containers being loaded in Taipei, while recovered wreckage showed signs of chemical reactions inconsistent with the declared cargo. The official inquiry concluded the fire likely started among improperly packaged hazardous materials, but could never definitively identify the ignition source due to the suspicious lack of documentation and the extreme damage to key evidence. In the decades since the tragedy, the Helderberg disaster remains one of aviation's most enduring mysteries. The crash led to significant improvements in cargo compartment fire detection systems and stricter regulations governing the transport of hazardous materials. For the families of the 159 victims, however, the unanswered questions continue to haunt them. Annual memorial services are held at the Cape of Good Hope, where wreaths are cast into the waters that became the final resting place for what many believe was an aircraft carrying secrets that died with its crew and passengers on that dark night over the Indian Ocean.